I'm gonna step foot in Hallingfjord and I'm just gonna pass out probably.
3, 2, 1.
All right, well, welcome back to another exciting episode of Server Restart In.
Woo woo!
It's a weekly World of Warcraft podcast with three opinionated players who like to get together to discuss their thoughts about the current state of the game. My name is Jim. I am joined by Kristen
Hello.
and Brian.
Hello.
Hello.
And what a week it has been. Now,
It has?
I know last
For you
week...
or for us?
I'm confused. What a week has it been? Well, I mean, I know my week has been made, but
So, Battlecat has a lot to say, and he's out.
Battlecat's week has been made too.
No, we what was I saying? It's been a week. It's been a hell of a week.
Been a week.
As a guild, we managed to get.
Oh, we got the Jellycat.
Yeah, we got the
Yay.
Jigglesworth Senior, the Slime Cat mount, because we finally.
Is it awesome?
It's pretty damn cool.
It's cool.
It's a saber slime cat, so I mean.
Yeah.
No, that was the one that was supposed to be, or was that a part of the vote or something
Yeah.
like
Yes.
Yeah.
that previously?
We got the tree, and the only one that hasn't come out of that is the spider mount.
I don't remember what the spider mount was.
It was like
so.
the Nerubian mount. It was like a Nerubian type thing.
I
So-
don't know how I feel about that because I don't really want to ride a sentient, like, they're sentient. I don't really want to ride a sentient spider. Like,
But you put your legs into some warm green jello and
I don't. I'm a
Right.
druid. I shapeshift
Oh,
into an
fair.
owl with a broken neck.
oh.
Right. So yeah, so we did that. It was a not a challenge, I guess. I mean, it's just a lot of fights we hadn't done in a while. So, and being casual raiders, it took a couple weeks. But, it's fine. It's a nice mount. I think the only mount, like I said, like the Nerubian wasn't there. They put the spellbook mount,
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
but that's a reward for getting all the tier sets
No,
from
it's
the
the mage tower.
getting all the tier sets from the
Oh.
mage tower.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize there were tier
Yes.
sets from the mage tower.
That's what there's the Fellbear and then tier sets.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
there's a DK.
Clearly, I haven't done any of it.
Yeah. It's still hard
I know.
because they depower you. You
Yeah.
have to Legion
was-
legendaries don't work, which is
which is bullshit.
fucking annoying.
To be honest, because they
That-
had them tuned for the Legion
Well, they
legendaries.
retuned them,
Mm.
but like your Covenant stuff doesn't work and all that stuff. So
like
that's,
they had specific abilities that you used in those to make
Well,
it easier, and
again,
that's
some of those abilities were baked into the talent trees.
yeah, but some of them I don't think were, and so it required. I don't know. It's good that it's there and they're not taking it away.
Yeah.
I will say that. Like it's there, it's in the game, it's not a time, sensitive thing. It's it's not there's no FOMO with that. You don't have to worry about, oh no, it's going to be over and I'm going to miss it and not get it. You can go back and do it at your leisure. And I like that because sometimes I don't want to do things when they want me to do them. I want to do them in my own time.
Yeah, Jim. Quit forcing her to do stuff.
Yeah.
I don't force her to do
He
a
does
damn
not
thing.
force me to do anything.
If anything,
I force him to do stuff.
yeah.
Like log into Final Fantasy to get me a house.
She gave me a
Aw.
bunch of gil to put a bid for a house for the free company.
And we won! and Jim was the winner, and now we have a house. Woo woo!
So now
What is the free company?
It's like
A
a
guild.
guild. Free company's a guild. It's just a Final Fantasy guild.
So now we have a guild house. So it's cool.
So now Kristen can live
Decorate
out
it.
her.
Is that like
decorated
is that like
rooms.
the guild? Well, guild house. What were we talking about before? We're talking about guild.
Guild halls and
Guild housing, I guess.
Yeah,
is what we're
yeah.
talking about.
That's essentially what it is. It's a house for the guild, and you can have rooms that you can buy for however much gil, and you can decorate them and blah blah blah. So you can make your own room in there. They have quarters. Like I have a workshop, an airship workshop in there, and so you can make things with the workshop and like sell them, and you can store your chocobos in the stable and change their colors of their feathers, and you can plant stuff, and
All
you
right.
can.
I just hope
It's really cool.
that our assigned, Blizzard agent is listening and writing this stuff down to know how
Because
to get
this
Kristen back into
That's
the game.
how you get me back in the game. Yeah. None of this garrison bullshit. None of this pre-programmed, let me just plop something down on one specific. No. Customization. It's all about the customization. If they let me build the house itself and I could build it in whatever configuration I wanted, that'd be perfect. Because Final Fantasy does not do that. They just, you buy a house and you plop it down, and it's however,
You know what's funny is the only thing I recall, the only game that I recall that did that was Ultima Online.
Wow.
They didn't do it until like 4 or 5 years into the game, though.
I think WildStar had, right? Couldn't
No,
you-
also it had a ridiculous amount of customization inside the house, but you
Okay.
picked a style of house and you went with that.
What about Galaxies?
Yeah. Galaxies was the same way. You
Just
still had
got
to
like
pick
a
a style of house, but
Okay.
you could decorate the inside, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ultima was the only one that finally, they had at first just standard houses that the carpenters could build for you. And then I think eventually they came out with the house customization stuff that you just started with a plot. So you started with a foundation, and then you literally started putting up walls bit by bit by bit.
Yeah,
all
I
the way
like
around.
that. That's what I want to do.
I'm pretty sure EverQuest
People made
Next
some
was
pretty
going to have
wicked
that.
stuff.
Yeah, it was. EverQuest Next was
Oh,
going to have
yes.
that. It was supposed to be so good. I'm so salty about that. They just
Fucking
did a
Sony.
smash and grab, man. Took all of our money and just ran.
I don't think that the people working on it really intended for it. I think Sony just decided that nope, we're done.
Not worth.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
We're getting rid of this and we're moving out of this part of the
It
market.
just sucks because you, as a consumer, you don't have any recourse. And that really, really sucks. Other than to not throw your money. I mean, we spent $200 on those stupid packs,
Yeah.
and really got Landmark out of it. And we played that for a little bit, but it
Well,
wasn't
not only that, but-
anywhere near. I mean, it was really cool. Don't get me wrong. If they would have freaking made EverQuest Next 2, it would have been good. If they would have because it was they got that destructible stuff down. They got just the right amount of when you're going in to craft and gather and stuff like that. It felt good. It was good. It was in a good state. Building things was the same thing. You built, you put down laid down your floorboards, built your walls. It felt good. I wish more would do that.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was.
You know how each server was basically going to be different? They were all going to start at the same point, and there were going to be certain checkpoint events, and based on what the server did, certain things would happen. So you would basically have branching timelines. And so, something happens on that server, that's it. It's not like it goes back around and it happens again, on a thing. It's like, no, this happens, and that's in the past now. Each server.
Well, that was they had all the migrating mobs and all kinds of stuff too.
And that
Which
shaped
I thought was
land.
amazing.
It's like if you don't build a city or the city doesn't have the defenses, like the goblins would come in and kind of set up camp and whatnot, and each
And they all react to each other. So if one family or whatever was threatened by another type of mob family, they could actually move away, take each other over, all kinds of dynamic stuff, which is amazing. It was so cool.
I
I mean, just seeing it was seeing the in theory,
concept
it
of-
looked
yes.
really, really cool.
In concept,
Yeah,
it was really cool. Whether or not they were going to really be able to achieve it, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
Those are
clearly
pretty lofty goals.
that was probably what killed it. But
Well, I think the studio being sold killed it.
well, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that
well, I won't. I mean, even even Ultima, they admitted that they put in a full like ecology system into the game. It was one of the first things they ripped out because as soon as they let players play in the alpha or whatever for the first time,
they broke the shit out of it.
Well, no, they just kept killing everything in sight. So like the fact that the wolf could go hunt the rabbits and so on and so forth, like it never actually happened because there was nothing there to do.
Everything was dead.
So it totally, yeah, the system just couldn't run because the players were mutilating everything in sight. So
That's hilarious.
very, very interesting. Yeah.
That's like, hey guys, we got this great feature. The environment's alive. It's like a real thing. Okay, we're just gonna go raise the forest.
Yeah.
We're just gonna hunt everything to extinction. And now, see how funny would that be if stuff like that happened, and then like basically like all the bees die, and then plants don't get pollinated. Now you have a drought, or you have crop failures because there's no insects and all that stuff. It sounds like It just sounds like fucking Dwarf Fortress.
Oh, really? I don't know.
Oh, that is like a simulation game, and it has all. There was a bug in there where the cats kept dying, and nobody knew what the hell was happening with the cats. And this is not like a graphical game; it's pretty much ASCII. And they basically found out that what was happening was the dwarves in the tavern would spill their drinks, and the cats would drink the alcohol and die. The shit on this game is ridiculous. But anyway, let's get back to World of Warcraft.
Why? That's an interesting conversation.
I know. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Well, I got some more things to talk about.
Well, let me just finish with back to Final Fantasy. The cool thing about housing and professions, crafting professions in Final Fantasy is that you can actually make the things that go into your house. So you're actually creating the items. And that is something that I think WoW really needs to copy as well. Make shit useful.
Make woodworkers, make people that make furniture.
Make professions useful.
Make professions useful.
Well, I think they're trying to do that. You know, it's like I haven't messed around with the system. Oh, that's the thing what I was going to say. It's like I know that we had talked about last week about, deep dive into beta stuff.
You're our beta bunny
here. Yeah, it didn't
here.
happen. I had a lot of irons in the fire. They had a change for the Frost Death Knight talents coming out. And so I've been waiting for that. It's out because there's a new build out now, and now you can go onto one server and make a max level character. I will say, at max level, I was getting to the point, I was, picking my talents and all that stuff, and I'm like, I have extra talent points. Where the fuck do I spend these? Because I had
that's good.
I had gone down these trees, and I'm like, okay, this is like the core of the build. I still have points to spend. What the fuck am I going to spend them on? So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I could throw some on this side and do some more stuff, because, it's like, they have thresholds, right? You have to put in 8 points before you can go below a certain level, and then like another 8 or something like that before you can get down to the bottom part of the tree. So so that kind of does force you to branch out at that point. But it was interesting because I ended up with a lot more stuff than I thought I was going to end up with, especially considering that I copied my main character over, on the previous build, who's level 60. So, there was that much difference in, in the 10 levels and the points and all that stuff. Plus with the rework of the tree kind of changed a few things up, but I didn't feel like, I felt like it took things that I had other options to take things that I didn't necessarily think about because they weren't on my main path. So it allowed me to kind of like branch stuff out and to like supplement the build, kind of. So I feel like it's gonna be pretty neat. Like, and they've reworked a lot of stuff already. Like a lot of the different. I think pretty much almost every class is like their talent trees have been updated a little bit, you know, because they're just still reworking them. They broke rune forging. Couldn't rune forge my weapon. It doesn't activate when I go to the rune forge to allow me to actually do it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's because you make a new character. None of my characters on this thing have gone to through Legion, so Ebon Hold's still in Eastern Plague Lands. I'm like, well, let me go ahead and get it moved to Broken Isles and see if that does anything. No, it's still broken. So I had to play through all the Legion, opening Legion shit again.
Oh, that's right. And you beat all of the...
Yeah, I got up onto that ridge at the final part where you had to defend the ridge while the Alliance is down below. And I'm just like melting demons. And then they're like, Bane's down, save him. I'm like, nothing's gotten past me. What got him? And then finally, like,
What was it?
the spaceships are up at the top and they just start firing lasers. And then it finally triggers the end. And I'm like, God damn it, I was wiping the floor with these sons of bitches. But now it's... I'm gonna do some more with it. I might look at some of the. They give you a chest that you can open multiple times to give you different weapons and consumables for max level stuff. Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna start like raid testing and stuff like that. They did. They've been messing with the experience stuff, and I guess the current one that's out now, they've like really changed. Like the graph just looks kind of ridiculous. No, I guess it's kind of close to what it was for the early alpha build. So just leveling experience isn't going to be as rough going forward. Let's see, where are we at? Chromie time. They are updating Chromie time to be from level 10 to 60 now, instead of just 10 to 50, so that way you can level up to max, or not max, I'm sorry, level up to 60, you know, before you have to start the end game content, you know, so that way, you know, they're just extending it another 10 levels. They're still working on smoothing out the gear levels, because I guess there is some like weirdness with like the way the upgrades feel, such that they're not necessarily that much of an improvement, or like at later levels they're not high enough or something. One thing I will say is when I made the max level character, they gave him all greens and he was high level 340. So I think I'm currently at like 291 on my character, which means I'll probably get through 65, or probably even close, you know, 65 to 68 before I really start seeing any meaningful upgrades to gear, which isn't.
Oh.
It's nice, but not nice. Yeah, well, that always tends to happen. If you do higher level...
Yeah, but is that an inflation of Season 4 that's causing that problem then?
Well, I think so. Because Season 4 went from 291 to 304 as the max. So, you know, having higher level gear just means that you don't get to use any of the...
It's not fun. I mean, getting to 2 levels in and then starting to swap out, sure. If you were like maxed out like you guys are, right?
Well, yeah, I cannot say that the gear won't be upgrades. I don't know. That's just currently what it is. Yeah. You know, there may be some things that are higher level, couple levels in. I don't know what the gearing is. So it's just that these are like entry level greens, I believe, for level 70. So I mean, that's, I don't know. No, I don't know. I think, is it next week or the week after that Lich King is launching. It's the 26th.
Week from Monday.
So
Well, sorry.
a week
The
from
time today is Friday. A week from this coming Monday is Lich King. At least for Central Time. And
Nope, it is a complete global launch. It looks like.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like for me, that's when it launches. So.
Yeah, it's 5 p.m. our time on the 26th is when it'll launch for us. Because it's another global launch type thing like they've done with some of the other stuff. So it's getting a lot of people, I guess, amped up. I've been playing quite a bit on and off with, on the classic servers, leveling a Death Knight. Pretty much enjoying the hell out of it. It's a completely different play style. You having to put the diseases on and keep them on and all that stuff, and it's a pain because I don't have gold, so I had to get up like a couple of levels and do a shit ton of quests and stuff to be able to buy flying. But once you buy flight, it's, you just fly around and you're good, So, but there was an article I read a little bit ago. I read it, I think, sometime last week, but it came out on the 8th of September, and it was talking about the technical capacity and the technical limitation and the hardware limitations that they have for the queues. That they basically came out and said there's no technology solution to this, there's no hardware solution to this. The queues, they can't do anything about it. They've done everything that they can do has been done. So they're like asking people to like switch to other servers with like the free transfers to kind of bring the queues down, because there's just nothing. Even with today's, because I don't think they're layering, but I think a lot of it is just it's just hitting the capacity of all the stuff, because it's not just the login server, it's everything in the game. It's the chats, it's the queues, it's the auction house. It's just,
well, I wonder if that means that they're still using really like an old architecture style that's closer to what Lich King originally was. Maybe I thought that when they said about Classic before, like they were making tons of changes so that it kind of operated the same way, but I wonder if they just meant like as far as BattleNet services and stuff like that.
well, I think it has to do with the backing databases for each realm, because it's just they say right now that the capacity for realms are as high as have never been as high as they are now. They've increased the capacity of the realms, but it's if they can't increase it more without causing more failures to occur because of the overload on it, and it just doesn't seem like. What do they say?
I wonder if that's a result of like the stuff that we kind of see now, where like we were talking the other day about Mankrik and Pagel, right? So
Yeah.
Pagel has almost no horde on it. The opposite for Mankrik, right? There's almost no alliance on it. Just the way that like, and whether it could be like, partially older players that just kind of know what they want out of the game in this case, like they want to go back and experience things they missed, or nostalgia, whatever the case may be, and like they're just generally deeper pockets, I guess.
Yeah.
To be able to make those transitions and stuff, and that has them skewed in a weird way in terms of numbers per server. I don't know.
Well,
it's interesting though, because like you think when you really think about the game, like there's only like you could tell the way the game kind of works when you walk around the world, right? There's always like a circle, a sphere of loading or something that's around you, right? So it kind of lazily loads stuff in the world for you, but at the same time, it's not fully, it's not zoned out. like the zones may be called zones, but they're not zones in the traditional sense. Like you reload onto literally another server that is just has all to do with that zone and nothing else, right? It still is really like expansion based servers, most likely. So it's interesting to see, like, or it's interesting to hear that they still have like that type of problem and they haven't used, because I imagine that modern WoW uses more of some kind of scaling technology, right? Like,
well, they've said that the servers that they have now for Classic are 4 times as large as the realms were in 2008. So I mean, the capacity is quadrupled. And
but if it's done the same way it was before, then there's always going to be a limitation to like that, right? Especially how, because everything scales now. One machine just never scaled 15 years ago.
yeah, well,
And when it did, it did it in a very like smoke and mirrors way.
it just has to do with like when you connect to the realm, they're saying that your connection interacts with a bunch of services. So even layering doesn't impact that, because you can layer it all you want, so you only see so much on the game, but still just having a server at capacity with that many connections, it's going to overload. That's why you see degradation in chat. Like you type something in chat and it doesn't show up for a second or two. You see auction house delays, all that stuff. I mean, it's just because the systems are maxed out, and it's just, I don't know. I don't think that we'll really see that much of an issue, because I don't know. We're not playing on probably some of the more populated realms in general, so I don't know. It's funny because the article ended and says, but hey, if you wanted the real vanilla WoW experience, this is unfortunately definitely it. And it was. I remember when Lich King came out. I worked nights at a police department, and I'd work overnights and whatnot. So I'd be on my laptop, and I'm like, I would sleep, get up, get ready to go to work, and I would get on my laptop. And at the time, I was using my phone for internet or whatever. I would turn my phone internet on, connect my laptop to it, log into the game server, get into the queue, throw it in the front seat, and drive to work, and just have it all connected and all that stuff. So I was driving while I was waiting in queue to get into the game. It was an interesting time.
I remember that was fun. Remember the first night?
I don't miss it.
When it launched, I didn't even go home.
Yeah, because you were right by the hotel you worked at, so you just went there.
Yep.
It was, yeah. I'm obviously not going to be doing that again this time for when it launches, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
They posted something yesterday. It's an article on their news thing Blizzard did, called "Things to Do in Shadowlands When You're," in parentheses, "mostly dead." And they have a list of items, things that are going away with the Dragonflight launch, things that are going away with the Dragonflight pre-patch, and things that will have the difficulty increasing when Dragonflight launches. So you know how certain things are cut off, like certain mountains or whatnot. So before Dragonflight, or up until Dragonflight launches, they're still going to have the Veil Strider thing that I've almost got. That's going to go. The Jigglesworth Senior mount, that's still going to be available until the launch, because the faded raids
are going to go away.
No, well, they're probably going to go away when it launches, or if they don't, the faded raid achievement will. But we'll get to that in a minute. And then there's a mount for the Jailer Heroic that's going to go away. It's the crab mount, basically the Halaron mount, which we may want to think about doing Sepulchre Heroic on normal, or not on non-faded, to see if we can work towards that mount.
Sure.
And then there's some achievements to get that you can't get after Dragonflight launches. Faded raids, after a certain point, once the pre-expansion starts, right? Once the pre-patch starts, all the raids will be faded for the rest of the expansion. Meaning it's not going to be on a cycle. They're all going to be faded. Which,
Oh, okay. So you can choose to do what you want to do.
yes.
I like
So
that.
you're not bound by the rotation.
That's smart.
now
That's smart.
it does make, I think they're talking about some of these mounts that are a little bit harder to get. So I don't know if you can turn faded off though, because they're talking about the Vengeance mount, which is the Sylvanas mythic drop, and then the other flying head mount thing from Jailer Mythic. So those are going to be harder. Well, it says recommended 265. So you must be able to turn faded off completely. So you can still do it at Mythic like normal. So those will, once Dragonflight goes away, it'll be down to just one mountain dropped. Like currently it drops two. They did this in BFA with Jaina and the Glacier mount in the Battle for Dazar'alor in that raid.
Wait, what did they do?
Up the mountain drops to 2
Oh.
at the end. So that way, you can get more and farm it. With the pre-patch, obviously the Deathwalker mount for the Mythic Plus for Season 4, that's going away. And then some PvP stuff is going away. An illusion and an armor set. So, yeah, there's things to do before they go away. Because that's just kind of how things work. And I think with the fact that if you're doing faded raids, you're going to be getting higher level than some of the other like heroic stuff. So you can go back and do some of that stuff. So that'll be a fun thing to see if people want to do.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I like that they're... So one of the things that I feel like Final Fantasy does better and WoW should copy is the fact that most of their content is still relevant from all the expansions. Like, arguably some of the ARR stuff, right? You don't need more than one person for. But all the other content from the other expansions, you need people for. Now, they're usually 8-person parties, so you maybe need 6 people instead of 8. Or you maybe go in with a group of DPS and 1 tank and don't take a healer, because you don't necessarily need one. And then you can skip past some of the mechanics and stuff. But all of the stuff is relevant pretty much all the way through. So there's group and you can turn off the stuff and do minimum item levels. So you can do it as it was in that expansion.
yeah, that's the one thing I don't like. I don't like going into something and having powers taken away.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a huge fan of that myself. I don't like having powers taken away. But I do like the fact that it's still relevant. I think you should, be able to still use your powers, but not make it, and you can that's only if you do go into that minimum
Right.
item level.
Right.
If you go in at level, the max level into a level, 60 raid or whatever, you're still going to have all of your shit and you're going to be powerful as you are. But the way that the game is, mechanics are such a big thing
Right.
that if you still fail the mechanics at your max item level, you're still gonna wipe. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. And I wish that WoW would do that, would make more content that, I think they call it evergreen content that just it keeps going. It keeps blooming. It keeps, it's relevant no matter what expansion you're in. And I think housing would do that to bring it back to that. Because, people always, and that would make the jobs relevant every expansion,
So this just reminded me, I got some bad news. Originally, when I was in the beta stuff, I was like, oh yeah, my covenant powers still work. Well, once you enter into the Dragon Isle zones, they no longer work. They no longer function. Which means that if you want those abilities for the utilities or whatever you have, then you do need to spec into them. So, like if I wanted to keep Abomination Limb, I have to talent into it. Right. Because, it's kind of like, it would almost be like the artifact weapons if they let the artifact weapons still function as normal in the Broken Isles. You know what I mean? Like if you went there and like they had all their traits back and whatnot, and like when you leave they were like the depowered versions, that would be. But instead they made them all just no trait trees kind of thing. It's just stuff automatically unlocks on them now. But yeah, it'd be nice if you could still go back and do stuff without it being just like guaranteed cakewalk, because that's kind of, I don't know, it's all right, but so they had their charity, one of their charity esports event, which was 2 guilds doing Nathria on Fated, but they added in another Fated power so that each boss had 2. And I guess, they thought that, it would provide more of a challenge, but when you do it correctly and all that stuff, it gives you like a double bonus basically, because if you do the mechanics, it gives you like a boost or whatever. So they're adding that.
I like that.
Well, they're adding it into the main game. You can turn it on. So if you go into a Fated raid, you can go to the console and you can have it add the extra Fated power. So now you have to do more in the raid, but obviously greater risk, greater reward kind of thing. So, it's they're thinking like, oh yeah, it says, when it says the additional powers can be disabled at any time, but it doesn't affect any in-combat encounter. So you can't like start a fight, turn it off midway through kind of thing. Like have somebody stay at the console. Right. And it doesn't change loot. So so it's just, there's no benefit from just the challenge of it, which maybe they should put in an achievement for it, called Double Fated or something like that. I don't know. I think that's kind of all. Oh no, there's something from Dragonflight that's coming out. There's gonna be an item coming out called the Armoire of Endless Cloaks, and since Rathion's been the purveyor of cloaks for 2 expansions for 2 different legendary cloaks with all those different appearances, this will allow you to generate a temporary cloak appearance. So you can have it be any of the cloaks, I think, that you could make with him.
Does it give you the cool visual?
You're talking about for the
legendaries, the mist ones, yeah.
I don't know. They are those cloaks. Like it's like the fabulous crane cloak, energetic cloaks. Those are all the ones. But then there's data mined replica spells for the legendary cloaks, and it's like the Gonglu and the Qian Li and Jing Kang. All those ones, and it says, the first one says just as good as the real one if it had no powers. So I mean, it probably would be my guess, but I don't know. They say it's possibly going to work like the closed chest from the Karazhan Opera House that you got from Legion, or like there was like the Christmas chest you could click on and it would give you a random Christmas outfit kind of thing. So I don't know. It's something that they mind. I thought that was an interesting thing. It's not as good as having the original ones, but yeah. So that's pretty much all the news stuff from around the world of Blizzard, I guess. I did do a bunch of stuff in the game this last week, though. I managed to get the Keystone Master achievement.
Yay!
Pugging my ass off and hit 2K, so I got the purple Deathwalker mount, which was
cool.
Yeah, that was rough. That was not a I don't know. I was trying to do some to get, because I had some lower keys on some dungeons, and I was trying to just kind of do like mid-range keys or whatever, and I was just getting some crazy awful groups, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? It's like, I don't have this problem when I do them at like 15 or higher, but like you go down to do like a 12, and it's either people that are just coming up and don't know what they're doing, or people that just don't care, and it's just like, no, you still gotta kind of do some of this shit. But I got that done. I was like 10 shy of like the 400 mount achievement, so I just went and bought a bunch of mounts from like War Spear had a bunch I didn't have and whatnot, so I got that. So I got like the Fellraiser Hawk mount or whatever. It's kind of like the the Raven Lord mount that the druids can get from, what dungeon is that? Sethic Halls. You remember you used to have a druid go in and do the ritual to read the book to summon the Raven Lord, and then somebody would get them out, and they made it so everybody got them out. Then they made it so I don't think you even needed a druid.
You don't even need a druid now.
Yeah. It was a neat thing way back in the day. It was out in Outlands and all that stuff. But it looks like that, but it's green. And I swear to God, it just looks like fucking lime jello.
This is the Jello expansion.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't even look like the jelly cats. It doesn't even look like it's made of slime. It just looks like it's just like that bright green and stuff. So I don't know. And I just randomly did a fucking time walking dungeon and got the Infinite Time Reaver mount.
He has been, and he won me my house in Dang! Buy a lottery ticket.
No.
Buy a lottery
I
ticket.
refuse.
Buy a lottery ticket.
I need to go do ICC.
So you can finally get that.
See if I can get Invincible. Probably not. But no, it's been an eventful week for me. I've been playing a lot, and I've been bouncing around between retail and classic because I still like leveling the old school DKs. It's like, yeah, I'm still in Hellfire Peninsula and all that stuff. I think I got 2 of them going, and I hit 63 or 64 on one of them. And it's just like, it reminds me of the old school days, except I'm better at the game overall because I used to click skills, and now I use like obviously the thumb pad on the mouse, but instead of clicking on them on the action bars, like I used to do that. But it's just like I know all the quests because I've done them so many goddamn times, and it's a good way to just get on, do some stuff, and just kind of zone out, listen to some music, watch some shows or something, and just.
It really is much more nostalgic than BC was.
Yeah,
especially for me.
I didn't
it's
really
crazy.
play until the end of BC, but like Wrath was when I really cut my teeth on this game, and it was. And so this is just like, even though I'm still in Outlands, you know what I mean? It's just like,
right.
It's like,
it's just that they made it so much easier once they released this patch, and yeah, it's actually. It's been tons of fun for me.
I'm pretty sure the only add-ons I'm running is a UI add-on and a damage meter add-on, which I don't even think I mean, I'm not doing any group content, so it's irrelevant, but it's like I keep opening the map to look for the blue splotches to see where the shit is, and I don't have any of that stuff. I'm not using Questy like everybody else is. So, like, if I'm out there killing something and, like, somebody invites me to group so we can kill it, since the tagging stuff was, individual back then for the most part, like, we'll do it, get the item, and, like, in party chat, and see Questy, blah, 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 so-and-so got this, and I'm like, yay. Like, I'm not using that. Like, I just remember where a lot of this stuff is, and sometimes I have to actually read the quest again and all that stuff, but it's just, like, a lot of it's muscle memory, A lot of it's just, like, I know where that chick's backpack is. It's that little camp south of Falcon Watch, and it's just, like, I know when I have to go get the journal, it's up by the slime goose and all that stuff, up by Azeroth, or whatever his name is, the Cruel, the guy that I still can't
Pools
kill.
of Agonar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just like, I'm getting ready to go drop myself a totem and follow a spirit wolf and go find the Maghar.
Ew, Jim, we don't want to know about that.
I'm going to drop a big fat totem. Yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I like Wrath. They still haven't said what they're going to do because they have classic era servers. Are they going to have BC era servers? Or are they just going to, like, when Wrath comes out, like, I haven't seen anything like that. You know what I mean? Because you can go on a server and still play just classic without the BC content,
Right.
So I would assume that they would have something like that but they haven't said anything about that, and that's coming up fucking soon, like in 10 days. You would think that they would have, like, the same kind of thing where, okay, we're going to replicate the servers and then have a BC era.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's the same with, like, the way that they sent out the Cataclysm Classic feedback form.
Which I didn't get.
Yeah, I don't know if I got it or not, but in that same vein, like, they may not be exactly doing the same process for every single classic thing they do. So
no, you're right.
That's actually really interesting because maybe, we might have more of a dynamic thing that's closer to, the progression servers and EQ that I was always bitching about, like they should do in WoW, which essentially they are doing. They're just doing it in more clunkier fashion. But we might get something closer to stuff like that if they're willing to try to do things a little bit different. So
it would be nice really if they would. So they keep doing these fresh start servers, right? Where you don't have anything on. It's just starts at whatever point, like, these servers are, and you go and you do it, right? So, like, right now, it's, like, at the end of BC, pre-patch to Lich King right now.
Yeah, but isn't it only a PvP server?
I think they added a non-PvP server.
I was going to say, that was really shitty to do that.
They,
fresh start, but only for people who want to do PvP.
I think they had to gauge. They probably were looking at feedback on that, and PvP fresh start is probably, it makes more sense because PvP, a fresh start, obviously levels everybody out, and if people want to go in and start from scratch with PvP, having everybody start at the same thing is, good. Whereas the other stuff, I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how they do this. And you're right, like they're taking a look at, they're trying different things and they're just seeing what works and what doesn't work. And maybe
they're experimenting, and that's really the key to a healthy relationship.
Yes. Hey, I don't care. It got me to Wrath Classic, so that I'm okay if they keep doing it. It's neat to go back and in 10 days, be able to go in and hop on that Zeppelin.
It would be lots of fun. The amount of nostalgia pouring out of my butthole is going to be amazing. Like, just the music is going to make me die. I don't know. I'm going to step foot in Howling Fjord and I'm just going to pass out probably.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say that I get the same feeling right now because,
It was different because we were leveling together, and
well, it's not just that, because I started a Death Knight, so I didn't get to Northrend until later because you couldn't go to Northrend until you were 70, right?
hmm
So
What?
you could not.
No,
68.
68.
68.
Well, whatever. Like, you started Death Knight at 55.
I immediately thought like, oh my god, no, that's the end level. What are you kidding me? No, yeah, you're right. But yeah, no, it was like 68.
I don't
think
know
you could
when they
finally
added the
go
actual,
over.
like, the early start. I don't think it was for... I don't think you could go at 68 right away. I think you had to be 70.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But you also couldn't make a Death Knight until it actually launched.
Yeah.
So you couldn't be a Death Knight in the first days of the expansion in Northrend.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think that would be an interesting thing just because there would be so many people there. And I don't know if I want to see that because I'm trying to do a fucking quest out in the warp fields, trying to kill some fucking void lord motherfuckers and get some essence or whatever from them.
Yeah.
And
this is Void Lord.
there's 2 fucking portals and there's 2 spawn locations for it. And there's 2 fucking alliance people, one at each of them, just fucking killing everything that comes out and just like farming it. So I sat there and I'm like, well, this is fucking dumb. I can't get anything.
Yeah.
And then I started to notice that they weren't tagging everything as it spawned right away. So I'm like, well, fuck this. I'm hitting them and I'm pulling them out. I'm like, I don't give a shit what you're fucking doing here. It's like, I'm going to fucking get what I need for my goddamn quest. You're going to sit there and just kill everything? No, not happening, bro.
Not happening.
So I just killed a bunch of shit, got what I needed, and left. And then I saw one of the funniest fucking things I have ever seen. Fell Reavers walking around, right? I see this mage just running from near where the Zeppelin crash is, and you have to do all the goblin quest over there to get your fucking buzzard bite recipe.
Oh, yeah. I
and
know where that is.
I watch this mage, and I just see him start running, and I look, and I'm like, you're running right into that Fell Reaver.
Oh, no.
And he stopped, ice blocked, and the Fell Reaver just stomped him to death.
Yep.
And I laughed.
Ice block doesn't help that.
It made you not die right away, but it was still pretty fucking funny.
That's funny.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how you missed this towering motherfucker that shakes the ground.
I mean, in their defense, I have died to that thing.
They ran
a
at
lot.
It wasn't like it came up behind them or from the side. They were right fucking in front of them. So, I don't know. It was funny.
That's funny, though.
When you're in fucking Hellfire, head on a goddamn swivel. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Because that motherfucker is the fucking sneakiest giant fucking stomping robot out there. But anyway, I think that's a good place to go ahead and wrap things up and call it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. You can check us out at facebook.com/server restart in. Shoot us a tweet at server_restart. And we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.